I am Miss Love and welcome to my channel. So if you are unfamiliar with my channel, I create original fashion illustrations, as well as create tech packs and spec sheets, and I do tutorials on how to create those things. So today we are going to be recreating this sketch. This is from Schiaparelli's Fall 2022 line. And so we are going to sketch this out and basically make it into our own. And so I'll be showing you like all of the different techniques that we'll be creating, as well as these bell-shaped cuffs. So with the way our fashion croquis is set up, you really won't be seeing the arms. So we'll kind of just give half details on it, but everything else you will see. And of course, because the feet are cut off, we're going to basically recreate our own shoes. So I just wanted to show you this. So we are basically going to kind of hide this picture. And then we are going to create. And so, hold on just one second. I'm kind of multitasking here. And so we're going to put this at the bottom because we might have to like go back and forth with this. I'm going to kind of move that to the bottom. And so we are going to zoom out, and here you see our croquis. And so I think what we can do is, and I did not mean to do that, I want to kind of move this around. And I know there was a way that I could move it. I just don't remember how. Okay. Is it a way that you can kind of nudge this? No. I remember there was a way. I think this might be it. Yes. Okay. So the software that I'm using right now, this is Autodesk Sketchbook. So this is one of my favorites. So this is one of my favorite platforms where I can use this, and I'm going to put this on top. So I use this this software. There was another software that I was using. It was called Adobe Photoshop Sketch. They have now discontinued Adobe Photoshop Sketch, and they put Adobe Fresca in its place. But because I'm using an Android, they don't have it for Androids. They only have it for iPhones, iPads, you know, things like that. So if you have an iPad or an iPhone, you can download Adobe Fresca, and I think it's free. And you can draw on it and all of that, just like you can do on Autodesk Sketchbook. And from what I just found out, I think in June 2021, Autodesk Sketchbook was also discontinued. But the good thing about it is that if you have it on your mobile device, like on your tablet or on your phone, or if you have it on your desktop, you can still use it. There just won't be any more updates for it. So because I have this on my tablet, I can still use it. I also have Autodesk Sketchbook on my laptop, and I have the Sketchbook Pro on my laptop because it was one point in time where you could download it all for free. So the one difference with Sketchbook Pro as well as with Autodesk Sketchbook Mobile is that on Pro you get everything. Like they even have like the Copic style markers. They don't have it on the mobile device. So that's one thing that I really don't like. So we're gonna go ahead and start. And what I like to do, I like to work in layers. So therefore, like, I won't be drawing right on top of my sketch. I'll basically be working on the layers. So therefore, if I need to move anything up, then I could do that. Or if I need to move anything down, I could do that. And when I start rendering, I will be I'll just render on that layer, excuse me. So we're going to go ahead and start. And what we might have to do, we might have to move back and forth. Kind of move this down just so you can see this. So we're going to go back. And as you can see, there is a crew, kind of like a crew style detail on the neck. And again, we are going to have to create that bell shape on the sleeves. So with the way our croquis is set up, you can only see kind of like a hint of those sleeve details. So we kind of still have it down here at the bottom to kind of look at, but I'm sorry, so yeah, we still have it down here to kind of look at. So we're going to kind of go back and forth. So we're going to start off, and we're starting off with our blank layer. We're going to go to our pencil, and there are two different styles of pencils. So this one, and if you want to learn about the pencils, you can go up here at the top in the library. So we have our pencil, and then we have our primary pencil. I like working with this basic pencil because it gives like a little smooth line to it. With our primary pencil, it kind of gives kind of like a little textured detail. So we're going to keep it at our basic pencil. Also, I'm using my Samsung Galaxy Tab S6. I have really been looking at the S7s and S8s because yeah, the quality on it, like, it looks amazing. And of course the size is 12.4. The one that I currently have, I think it's like 10.5. So of course I'm just using what I have for right now, but I would really love to have that new Samsung S7 or S8. Well, now it's S8. So I've been seeing all the features on it, and it's amazing. So again, we're starting off with our neckline, and from what we saw, it's kind of like a crew detail. So if you are unfamiliar with Schiaparelli, her name is Elsa Schiaparelli. She was known as Sheath. She was very famous, like during the 20s and 30s. But of course, when World War II came, she had to close down shop. A lot of designers had to close down shop during the 1940s, during World War II, because of course everything was being rationed to the war, and of course a lot of people had to flee. So Elsa Schiaparelli was a huge rival of Coco Chanel. Like, Coco Chanel really disliked her. Like, so much that she, simply just called her the Italian. If you look at, if you do research on Elsa Schiaparelli and on Coco Chanel, it will say that. I can't remember what sites they were on, but that did actually happen, where she, called her the Italian. She didn't even call her by her name. So one thing about Elsa Schiaparelli, like, she had a very artistic eye. She came from like an aristocratic family. So her family was like deeply into politics. So they of course wanted her to be in that, but she was very artistic. And, of course her artistic capabilities kind of led her to the path of being being an haute couture designer. So the thing with Schiaparelli, even though she was very like she had a very artistic eye, but she did not have the artist skills. So she befriended a lot of artists and a lot of designers and basically told them of her ideas. And then she kind of just changed different things and kind of made it her own. So that's how she really, came to the forefront. And I think that was one of the reasons why um, Coco Chanel really didn't like her, because of course Coco Chanel, she basically draped everything and she did everything by hand, and she had all the skills because of course her mom was a seamstress as well, so her mom taught her a lot of stuff. And so I guess because Sheath, as she was called, just basically like she really didn't have those artistic skills, and she kind of had everybody else doing everything for her. That of course was a big dislike to Coco Chanel. So I think she ended up closing up her shop for good in the 50s, because I think because she was in Paris. I think she was in Paris, either in Paris or in Italy, but I think she was in Paris. No, she was in Italy. I take that back. She was in Italy. I'm sorry. And then she moved. I think she ended up moving to America during World War II, because I remember she was in America, and I think she was married at the time and she had a daughter. And then I think she ended up opening her shop again, and then it ended up closing for good during the 50s. And I think she ended up staying with her daughter. And I know her granddaughter was a model. Her granddaughter was a model, and her granddaughter like really talks a lot about her, because of course her granddaughter was around to basically just talk about like her life's history and everything. So I'm sorry, my allergies are acting up. So what we are doing, we already have our neckline, and I feel that we need to kind of have this little detail back here so you can kind of see that it is being worn on our croquis. And if you are unfamiliar with croquis, croquis is spelled Croquis. Again, Croquis. Croquis is basically a French term that means human figure. So you will hear croquis a lot in the fashion industry. So one thing that you need to think about when you are doing fashion illustrations, besides creating your croquis, because like you will have to draw these out, like this one that I have. This is one that I drew of the walking pose, because of course you want to have something like this where it kind of looks like she's walking on the runway, or you can just create a lot of gestural poses, which is also what I've done. So in this case, again, I'm just using the walking pose to kind of mimic my croquis being on the runway. So when you are creating your fashion illustrations, you definitely want to think about your construction details. And when I say that, I am talking about your armhole seams, pockets, darts, sleeve details, cuff details, hems, things like that. So I have created my neckline, and the way that I have drawn it, I'm drawing it to where it is on the body. When you are drawing your stuff, when you are drawing or doing fashion flats, because I also do tutorials on how to create those fashion flats, you want to create it to where it is drawn on top of the body. So you want to make it look like where it's on the body and not just on this line, because if you do it on that line, then it's going to look like it's basically painted on, and you do not want it to look like it is painted on. So I have the armholes. I have the armhole seams drawn. I have the dress drawn. I have the sleeves. So now I am leaving, I'm going to my cuff detail, and we're going to move our picture up so you can see we're going to be creating these little armhole, these little bell cuffs. And so they kind of look a little stiff. And so I'm going to move that to the bottom. Looking at something. Okay. All right. So we can move that again. Move. Go up here. And then, and also I have to make sure that I'm drawing on the correct layer. Because I do have a habit of like just being in my own zone and just creating stuff and then realizing that I'm in my own layer. So what we are going to do to create our bell sleeve, we'll try to have it as stiff as on the picture. We're going to kind of create, like have a line extended going out. And then since it is tiered, kind of have it going out that way. I think we should have like another, and then we could erase that. So going into these details, and we're going to go to our eraser and kind of erase that. So if you look, okay, so there are like two different things on here. So if you look at this little top one, this controls the shape of whatever it is that you're using, and in this case we're using an eraser. And then of course if you want to look at the opacity, so the opacity is basically the amount erased. You can change the opacity at this bottom one. So this top is for the size, bottom is for opacity. And so if you go to the sides right here, and I should have gone through here, this is basically our library of things that we're using. So if you click on this little pencil right here, it shows the library, and then it has the settings over here on the right side. So on the left, you have your basic, and the basic is basically the stuff that you are going to be using a lot. So as stated before, I have the primary eraser, and it just basically looks like, you know, regular pencil. Primary pencil. And it just basically looks like a regular texture pencil. And then you have the basic pencil where it just gives like smooth lines. You have the vintage marker. And then the flow airbrush and the felt pen, and we're going to be using this to go over a lot of our stuff to make it very clean. We also have our technical pen, which kind of gives the same style as the felt pen. And then we also have our fountain pen. And the fountain pen and the inking pen are kind of the same. The inking pen basically has more value than the fountain pen. Then we have our tattoo inker. And then we also have our chisel tip pen, as well as our regular marker. Now I kind of like the regular marker more than the vintage marker. The vintage marker is kind of see-through, so you have to kind of build on top of that, whereas the marker, you just render and everything is fine. Then you also have the airbrush. I kind of like the flow airbrush and the regular airbrush. Then you also have the hard airbrush, where it gives like hard lines, and then the soft airbrush gives like the soft lines. So I kind of use those details for when I'm adding like little shine details to my garments. for the hard airbrush, and then the soft airbrush is kind of, I use that for like the details when it comes to like adding colors to garments and for makeup and things like that. And so, like I said, the inking pen and the fountain pen, they're kind of the same. Then you also have the Copic multiliner, which is kind of like the felt pen. I just like the felt pen better. And then you also have the hard eraser. Medium tip marker, that's basically where if you have like those little small details that you're trying to render, the medium tip marker will work for that. And then you also have the broad tip marker. And it'll work for those large areas. You also have the airbrush tapered. And so that's if you kind of like want tapered lines for your airbrush style. And then you also have the hard line airbrush. And then you have the textured eraser as well as the cashmere eraser. The texture eraser, it doesn't really, it erases, but it still kind of gives, still kind of leaves like a little bit of, residue on there. Whereas the cashmere eraser, it just erases very soft. And then you also have the smudge pen where you can kind of smudge little stuff in. So these are like, this is what I use with my basics. So you also have like with the Legacy, they have the ballpoint pen, paintbrush, felt tip pen. This is a different felt tip pen. Color builder, soft eraser. If you want a charcoal blend, you have that. Chalk pastel, synthetic oil. If you want your style to be kind of a synthetic oil style, then you also have synthetic acrylic and coarse watercolor. So like there are like different things in here, and I'm just kind of clicking through so you can see that you can use. They also have Conte crayon, and then you also have the dusty airbrush and the square eraser. And so if you are trying to do paints, they have a lot of synthetic paints here, and then a lot of traditional things, hard pencil, pencil 1, pencil 2, pencil 3, pencil 4. So that's if you have like a drawing style. So, and then you also have the large marker. I might have to add that in there. The large marker. And then the different paint brushes. And then of course they also have the fine art pencils in here. In addition to that, you also have different patterns. You have the halftone pattern, then you have the textures. If you want to add different textures to your artwork, as well as shapes and splatters and glow, as well as smudges. And then you also have like designer style pencils and pens and stuff. And then the artist style. So you have all of that. And then you also have pastels and then colorless. So I would definitely say play with all of that. I'm going to check something, because I want to check and see if this is still, and again, I have an Android, so I'm using the Google Play Store. So Sketch. I just want to see if it's still up. It is. So they still have it. Even though it's been discontinued, I kind of I guess the reason why I still see it is because I still have it downloaded. But if you're able to download it, that's fine. So if you are able to download it, then you can download it and play with it. Other things, because I've been kind of looking at other alternatives, and apparently, was this I think it's Iris Paint. Yeah, Ibis Paint X. Apparently this is like a good another alternative. And you have a lot of different brushes that you can use with that. I've never used it. I tried to use it. I really didn't like it. So I kind of just stick to this Autodesk sketchbook. But And I know a lot of people, you know, who have Apple, they use Procreate. And of course with Android, we don't have that. So we have to have like other little features, which is why I liked Sketchbook Pro. I mean, which is why I like Sketchbook as well as Adobe Photoshop Sketch. And so, of course, we're trying to make it to where we can get Photoshop Sketch on our devices. And that is still like an issue. So, from what we see, we still have our bell sleeve. And so, we're going to put our details on the side. Over here. So we already have our sleeve as well as our armhole detail. So now of course we're creating the bust. So if you look at my croquis, they are very voluminous. One of the reasons why is because I like to draw my croquis in the style of the pinup girl. Because that style is like my favorite style. And then of course, I like all of the, I like my croquis to actually kind of, you know, be shaped like very curvy women. And of course, if you look at my style, people are going to automatically assume that I am into plus size. Technically, it's not plus size, but I already know what the avenue that I'm going in. It's going to be the plus size style. So kind of just leave it alone. Okay, there it is. I'm trying to get rid of all these little dots. Okay, so going back to my layer, going back to my pencil. And so if you remember, and we are going to move our artwork up. We have this metal belt. I don't really know what that detail is on the belt. So because we don't really know what that is, we're going to create our own little detail. So we're going to move that down there. And I feel that, okay, I feel that this should be closer to the body. So we're going to take our eraser and kind of erase a little bit of that. Because I want to be as close to the body as possible. And so we are going to create our metal belt. And of course, I'm creating it to where it is shaped around the body. And so I'm going to go in and zoom in and just create that little oval detail just so you all can see it. And then I'm just basically wrapping this around the body. Another thing that you want to think about is basically how things are shaped. Especially if you are creating stuff that you are sending to the manufacturers. So you want to kind of mimic, you know, the real thing as much as possible. Because if anything looks like it has a large hump in it, or like if the detail looks odd, when you take it to the manufacturer, they're going to draw that exact detail that you have. also, because we don't want this belt to be see-through, because it's not see-through, we are going to erase our lines, our waist lines, and then gonna put our little circular detail. It could have been a lion for real, but gonna add that. And so we're adding the shape of our skirt, or the bottom of our dress rather, in this case. And then we are creating the bottom, that bottom part. And so, of course, if we had if we were doing this on pen, on our paper, we'll be drawing all of this on our light box. But because we are using our tablet, you can kind of see like all the details right here, which is why I wanted to kind of draw on the tablet for a while. I wanted to show this, you know, to you all, so you all can see like exactly like how I'm doing these techniques. So now I'm happy that I am able to show this to you all. Okay, so, and if we hide the details, this is basically what we have. We have our dress. We have sleeves, and then our belt. So after that, we're going to create our shoes. And since we don't really have any detail on the shoes, we can just kind of create whatever we want when it comes to shoes. So I think in this case, we're going to create our sandals. And these sandals, like our sandal heels, these are kind of becoming quite popular. And I'm going to zoom in on that. So we have created our top buckle, like our little ankle strap. And then we also have our foot strap. And then we kind of have our details showing where it is wrapped around. And then we are going to create our sole. And I have a tendency to kind of sketch really fast. So I'm trying to slow down. And so one thing about this is that in this case, you only have like one shoe to draw. And so just to mimic, make it look like we are doing this on actual pen, like using our pencil and our paper. So after that, we're going to draw the shape of our leg. So we're going to draw the shape of our leg. So in this case, we could actually go on our dotted, like on our outline. We can actually kind of trace over that because we are going to be using, our felt tip pen to kind of go over this anyway. And we're going to use another layer to go over our felt tip pen with this. And so I'm looking at my timer and I see we are at 35 minutes, which is good. So drawing the shape of our foot. And so we have that leg out of the way. And then the other leg out of the way. And then we are going to be tracing our neck. And so you have two options. Because I always like to put faces on my croquis, so you could either use the face or you can create your own face. So in this case, might have to use the face. And I'm just going back to here just to see how this hat looks. And so it is going to be kind of rounded. And I have a feeling. Let's see. Because I'm going to try to, because I feel that with the way our hat is, it's going to kind of cut off at the top. So well, it might not. We're going to go back up here at the top. Because, of course, we have to make our hairline. And to make the hairline, in this case, we're just going to go kind of like, I would say that this is kind of like between a fourth, kind of like a fourth or 3/8 of an inch from the top of the hat, and then just kind of creating the hairline. Or what we can do, now that I think about it, let me see. Okay, let me turn on this do not disturb. It's still on. What is that? Okay. What we can do, yeah, we can kind of create our little squiggly lines to showcase our hairline as to where it looks like it's an actual ponytail. And I knew that I was going to do that. Okay, so remember earlier when I said that You want to make sure you're drawing on the correct layer. Just showed all the details on the wrong layer. And so, since we have this down here, we're going to move that and kind of move that down here. And we are now on the right layer. So FYI, please get used to the layers that you're drawing on. In this case, like this might, and I hate that this is going to be cut off because I don't want to cut that off, but in this case, I kind of have to show the detail of the hatch. And then we can go into here and show and do our squiggly lines to showcase our hair being pulled in a ponytail. And then we are drawing the shape. We're drawing the shape of our head and the shape of our face. And we are drawing our ears. And you always want to make sure that you have the ears on here, unless you are creating some type of long hairstyle where the ears are covered up. Also, one thing that I like to do, I like to add earrings. I love earrings. So and then we are drawing the shape of the eyes. And what I have here is a fashion face. And now I'm drawing the lips. I drew the nose and I drew the lips. So if we hide all of these other layers, wait a minute. Okay. This is what you see. So we only have our top layer. And this is our walking pose. And so we can put since we are working on this, we can put our little details in to where it looks, where everything looks worn, if that makes sense. And so we have completed this sketch in less than an hour at 44 minutes. So what we are going to do, we are going to add another layer. And this layer is basically you tracing our hat, you are tracing the hairline, you're tracing the face, the head, the ears, earrings, and then the dress itself, the legs, and the shoes. So one thing that you need to make note of is that when you are tracing this stuff, you are not going to trace the inside of the body. You are basically tracing the outside and the details. So we are going to go around this hat. And we are going over the shape of our hairline. We are going over the face. And I know I put do not disturb because I just checked and it's do not disturb is still on. It should be on. Yes, do not disturb is on. So I don't know why I'm getting all these notifications. So if you all see notifications, I apologize for that. Okay, so we are going to create our eyebrow shape. Okay, and then we're going to the shape of the eyes. And the mouth. And then we're going to do the ears. So here's where we are going to be tracing. So we're tracing our dress. And again, we're going to the outside of the dress. And we are adding in our sleeve, well, our armhole sleeves. And I feel that we need to zoom in so we can really create the bust. And then I forgot we need to add that bust detail so it can look lifted. And then we are creating our belt. And we're zooming in to create the belt. And again, we're just creating the outside detail. And then wait a minute. Okay, there. Okay, and we're just gonna kind of create that circular shape. And then we are creating our hips. Uh-oh. Okay. And then we are creating the bottom of our dress. One thing that we can't forget, because we put a lot of detail into this, is our sleeves. And again, because they looked very stiff in the image, that's why we kind of created them to look stiff. And so now we are, okay, so now we are creating our legs. And again, I keep hitting this little button on the side of my stylus pen. Okay. And we're tracing the outside of our foot. And so then we're tracing this leg. So we are going to hide the pencil layer, hide the ink layer, and then hide our image. So this is what you should have. And so now we can go back in and kind of clean that up. And we'll take our pen. Kind of clean that detail up. Okay. And of course, okay. That's why. I'm trying to make this as small. There. And we are gonna, and I feel that we need to make this smaller. I don't understand why. Oh. That's why. So, okay. We're gonna go back to the felt. I think I did 1.1. And then again, it could be 2.1. We're going to go to 2.1. Okay. And there. Okay. So, and I'm just checking to see if that might be a little large. We're going to do 2.1. And I'm just checking. I'm looking at something. Okay. So that is 2.1. That is 1.1. So it was 2.1. All right. And we are going to go back over this with our hat. And what we can do, since we already have our details, we can go ahead and add lashes. And so I'm just doing like squiggly lines on the top and the bottom lash. And so now that we have our sketch complete, it is now time to render. And so I'm going to go from like our pencil sketch and just go to this plus size, which means that I'm adding a new layer, which is from this plus sign right here. And then I am going to go to our marker, and we are going to go to the color chart over here. So you have your color wheel right here, and then you also have like a set of colors down here. So I think I'm going to go here and just kind of make this more brown. And I would suggest definitely play with colors because this is going to be kind of hard to master. I feel in this case, I should give her kind of like I'm going to give her a light tan. Okay. We're going to do that. Give her a little light tan. And so we are going to use our marker and render. And in this case, we can do the whole thing because we're going to be adding our shadows and our highlights to this anyway. And so I always, because I teach as well, so I always tell my students that rendering a lighter person is kind of easy, especially with markers, because all you have to do is just like worry about the lines. But of course, in this case, we are building our color for the person. Then on top of that, we have to think about our highlights as well as our shadows. So we're going to take our pen and kind of go here and erase certain marks. And one thing that I like about using the mark is that it kind of blends in very easily. There are really no marks in it. And then of course, if you're doing this on your tablet, it feels very smooth. But of course, that's the difference in working with a tablet and then working on paper. With a tablet, everything feels smooth. And so, of course, we already have our, I feel I want to, let me go back to my set. Let me go back to my library. Because I feel like I should do the marker large and just add it under here. And we're going to use that for our dress, but I want to see how it's going to look. Okay, that's not bad. Okay. Okay, there's definitely a difference. Okay. And of course, we're going to go back and clean all this up. And then we're going to zoom in so you can see how it looks on the toe. And then we're going to take our eraser and clean all of that, because of course we're going to be using all of that to render our shoe. So I'm going to clean all of that up. And then we are going to clean up the side of the leg. And go in here. And so I'm going to clean that up as well. I think I have my smudge tool. Yep. So I can smudge all that in there. But we can also use our paint And so we have our skin color on, but now we need to add our highlights and our lowlights. Well, not lowlights, but our highlights and our shadows. So and I keep doing all this pausing because I'm really trying to figure out like how I'm gonna do this. So we already have our skin color, and so you have to think about shadows and our highlights. So I like to start on our shadows first. That way it'll kind of help me to see how the highlights are gonna look. So with the shadow, we're gonna go back to our pen. No, I mean not to our pen, but to our marker. And we're gonna go to our color selection, and we are gonna make this slightly darker. The shadows is going to look the same as the skin color, but it's going to be slightly darker. And so one thing that I really, really like about this, when it comes to our colors, we can see the before. So on the left side is how the color looked before, and on the right side is the new color selection. And so it's going to kind of help to see like how exactly we're going to do this. And I think we're going to keep that. We're going to use that selection for our shadow. And so instead of the marker, we are going to use our soft airbrush. And the soft airbrush is basically going to give it like a subtle shadow. And so we're going to zoom in on that. And as you can see, it's giving that subtle shadow hint. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot. I knew I forgot something. Instead of, because I always do this. Okay, so we're going to do another layer. That second layer. Okay, so we're going to do another layer. And of course, that's where you're going to see the shadows. So you're going to be doing this on the second layer. And then you can kind of see it on that layer that we just did. And then for the neck, you're going to kind of build it, because there are going to be highlights coming from this side. So all of this is going to be shadows. And so, and then we're going to also have a shadow here towards the inside of the ear. And so we're going to erase. I'm going to use the texture eraser to erase down there. And we are going to add our highlights. Add our highlights to our legs. We're going to use the soft highlights, and we're going to make sure to have a highlight on top of the leg, because of course that's where that's where the hem of the dress is, because of course, if you think about the shadows, the details, you'll see kind of a hint of a shadow from the dress. And in this case, as well as from the top of the shoe onto the legs. So you want to try to have this to look as real as possible. And I feel I apologize for all of the notifications. But we are going to go down here. We're going to go back to our highlight. Okay. There. Okay. So, from the way it looks like shadows coming from the side of the leg. And then we are also going to have another shadow on the inside, but it's not going to be as dark as this side. This side is going to be darker because of the different shadows. Okay. So now we have our shadows out the way. And so if you look, definitely looks like she's walking, and I'm going to turn this off. She's definitely looks like she has shadows. We're going to take our eraser, kind of clean that up. Okay. And so if we are finished, and I see we still have some color down here. We have our color down here. And I feel we need to go down here and kind of clean that up. Okay. Okay, so if everything is, and of course I like to just check to make sure everything looks good. So if it looks good to you, and this actually looks nice, so we can click on our box with our shadows, and we're going to merge it to the skin tone. So therefore our highlights, our skin tone and our highlights are like one layer now. And then we are going to select another layer. And now we are on to the highlights. So one thing that I like to do is go to our color corrector. This is our color picker. And so we're going to go here. And so from our color picker, we are going to go lighter than usual. because these are going to be our highlights, so you can see the difference from our skin tone color, which is the color on the left, to the highlight color, which is going to be our color on the right. And so we are going to use our soft airbrush and then just use our airbrush on that side. And then this time we are going to be looking at our highlights from our cheeks. And then remember when I said that the left side of our neck, it was going to be shadows because, the right side of our neck was going to be shadows because the left was going to be highlights. So here is where you'll put your highlights for your neck. And kind of clean that up. It'll kind of be hard to clean that one up because we kind of have to go in. So we might have to go in on that side. And clean all of that up. Okay, so now to go back to our highlights. And so, because we have our shadows on our legs, now we're going to do the highlights on our legs. And we're doing this on our legs and on our feet. So, and I like to give my croquis the look that they are very moisturized. We're going to go back up here to clean off the top of this. Now to go back to that and clean up that image. Okay. All right. And so if we are finished, because again, I just like to look at everything to see if it looks good. To me, it looks great. I feel that I need to add more shadow, make more highlight to that side, but looks good. So if it looks good, we are going to merge that with the skin color. And so we are going to create another layer, and we are going to make this black. But I feel what we have to do with this, we are going to have to, we're going to have to add some shadow, well, some highlights to this as well. And so, kind of go in. I want to see how the vintage marker is going to look. Yeah, that's not going to do it. I think we're going to do the large marker. The large marker is going to work well. we can zoom in. And then we can also okay. And of course, the reason why I want to add some highlights is because we don't want this to be just black. Because if you look at fabric, it's not just really black. You see some type of shine to it. You see some type of detail. So, gonna go here. And I feel that in this case, I kind of have to go in with the marker tip, the medium tip marker. And I think what I'm going to have to do, because again, I'm being silent because I'm kind of thinking of different ways to bring this out. Okay. There. And we're going to go in here. Okay. Okay, so I keep messing up in the same spot. Okay. Okay, there. All right. Okay, so I feel, because of course, if you look at this, not really seeing anything. So I feel that we are going to have to create another layer. So of course we can kind of see our, so we can kind of see the bust and all of that. So we're going to go, then we're going to do like our regular airbrush. I feel we should do soft also. Because I feel, there it is. There. And I think what I'm gonna do is just kind of create the shadows. Well, no, we won't see it on that side. We'll see it here. So therefore, when you see it, and I feel I need to do this one over. Okay, there. And so we're gonna do that. I see something about Will Smith. I'll read that later. Okay. And we are going to take a quick little break, and I'll be right back. Okay, and I am back. So, from what I'm seeing with these, with these highlights, I think this will work better for us when it comes to this black. And so now we can go back over the black. Okay, so as you can see, it looks a whole lot better. Because if I just left it the way that it was not gonna look right. So, gonna, okay, we're gonna move this to this side. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. And I wanted to use, okay. I wanted to kind of use the regular marker to go into detail. With sleeve. Okay, I'm very happy about the fact that I decided to do the highlights. And we're gonna go back over here. Okay. Okay. All right. So what it looks like, the top of this looks good. I feel that I'm gonna have to go back over this, especially with some more light details, and I think I'm gonna do that with hard, the hard, airbrush. So now we are going to start on our bottom. And again, I'm really liking the fact that I put the highlights over. I'm gonna go back over this. Uh-oh. Okay. So I feel that. Let me see. There. All right. So this is now starting to look good. One thing I forgot to do though, because we're gonna have to go back. Gonna have to go back to this and then go here because forgot. And I feel that with the bottom layer of this, we're definitely gonna need more. There. Okay. That's how it should look. And then I feel like I'm gonna have to erase this. Okay, we're gonna erase that. All right, and then we are going to go back. Yes. All right, this looks a whole lot better. And then actually, okay. All right. Okay, that looks a whole lot better. All right, so now, now, okay. We can go down here. Okay. Okay. All right, so I keep, okay, thank you. Because I keep doing this to myself. There it is. All right, so this is starting to look a whole lot better. And again, I'm happy that I added that layer, the gray layer. So now what we can do, we kind of do that. And then we can go, yeah, okay. Okay. So, and then of course we have our sleeve details. And we're gonna zoom in on this. Okay, so now we are going over Okay. And the last part of this. All right. And so we have the other side. Now, the only thing is the other side is going to kind of look, is going to be very dark. Okay. And we have our last bell sleeve. And so we're at a minute and, well, an hour and 42 minutes. And we are almost done, really. And so we still need to clean up the other side. Okay. All right, so now we are, we have the dress. And so, because we have already worked on our highlights for our dress, and I'm happy that I did that. Gonna go back. Go back. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead. Let me see if there's. I just want to clean up some of the gray on here. So I'm just kind of cleaning up, some things. Oh. Okay. So we're gonna go down here. Okay. Okay. And if that looks good, we're going to go ahead and merge that down here. And then kind of merge it with the garment. So next we have, because we already know that this is also going to be, the hat is also going to be black. So we can go ahead and I'm going to add 2 layers. One is going to be the highlights. And then the other is going to be marker. And I feel like I am going to make the hair brown, like a dark brown, just so it could kind of blend in with, so it won't really blend in with the hat. Let's see. Okay. Okay. All right. So okay. There. We're going to go ahead and render that. Okay. This is actually coming out really nice. So I want to go over this. And okay. All right, so go back to black. Uh-oh. Okay, there it is. And I'm thinking, well, after I do the hat, I think I'm going to do the shoes. And then afterwards, we could do the makeup. Because I think I want the metal components to be the last thing. Yeah, I think I want my metal components to be the last thing that I'll have to work on. And then after that, we will be done. So, looks like, and of course I'm going into full detail. One thing that I know I'm going to have to practice on is kind of doing a quick sketch. because I know with live fashion illustrations, of course you have to be good with quick sketching. And although I have done live fashion illustrations before, I know I need to like work on the quick sketch part. So therefore, that is like something that I have to work on. Because I'm trying to go back to the live fashion illustrations. Like a lot of stuff that I used to do in the past, I really haven't been able to do it. Especially since the pandemic happened. And I don't want to say that I kind of been in and I definitely don't want to say a depressive mood, but at the same time, I kind of been in a mood to where I really haven't been up on my fashion illustrations like I should. So now I am like really getting back out there, putting myself back in that position to get more freelance work, especially in fashion illustration, especially with doing tech packs and all of that. So, kind of happy about it. But I know that I do have some things speed wise that I need to work on because, as you can see from what I'm doing, I'm very detailed. And especially with me doing like live fashion illustrations, I want to be detailed, but at the same time, I can't be as detailed because it's not good to work on one person for like 3 hours unless it's like, a private session. Or they just give me a picture and say, hey, I want you to make this into a fashion illustration. So I have to work on the speed. I have the accuracy down pat. I just need to work on my speed. Because I go from saying, okay, yeah, I want to do this quick little sketch to, oh, well, let me add this detail. Let me add that detail. Sketching wise, it's not all bad. It's just the rendering part. And so we are done with our hat. And I want to add that in. And we're going to merge that. I feel like the hat needs to be one image. Because I feel I need to clean some stuff up. Okay. So, all right. We are done with our hat. Okay, so now we can move that in and then go back because we are going to do the shoes. For some reason, I want these shoes to be red. I don't know why, but I do. So, I'm going to go here. Yeah, we're going to do that. Because at the same time, maybe we can do this dark red. We'll do that. Okay. So, going here. Creating our dark red strap. Okay, I feel like there. Okay, thank you. Okay, and so we are going to go back here. And we are going to go down here. And then remember, we have to add shadows to the bottom part of the loops. Well, to the areas where it loops around. We got to add shadows to that. So, and of course in this case, we have to really just detail one shoe. Okay. And you are. And so we are going to, I think we're going to use our hard airbrush to do our shadows and highlights. So therefore, okay. Okay. All right, so we can merge that. And we can kind of merge that. And then we're going to go back on top and go here to our color picker. And then we're going to try to make that a little darker. So therefore, and I think we're going to go to our medium. To create our little shadow. Okay. All right. So the shoe is basically done. And so we can merge that together. And then merge that with the outfit. And now the makeup. So since we already have our red for the shoe, we can kind of keep that for our lip. And then, of course, we're going to use our eraser to clean that up. And then we can go on top of that because I kind of like to create this little shine detail. And there it is at the bottom of the lip. And we can kind of put it at the top too. And there you are. So our lip is done. And now we have to color our eyes. Our eyes are going to be brown. Maybe I need to, okay, there it is. There. Okay. So we are going to go in. That is a little too light, but it's okay. I kind of like this. Kind of like this light color. Okay, there it is. There. And I'm noticing that the eye shape is different. And of course, if I try to fix that, it's gonna make it extremely awkward looking. So we're just gonna kind of leave it like that. And that shine detail that I put on the lips, I'm going to put on the eyes too, but I think I'm going to use a different okay, I'm going to use a different color. So I'll place that. And we're going to put that on top. There. That looks a whole lot better. Because now looks like natural eyes. And so we can move that, merge that together. Merge. Let me see. Can we merge this? Okay. All right, so we can kind of merge that together. And so I'm thinking that the eye color, well, the eyebrow color and the hair color are all going to be the same. So we are going to use that same dark brown. And we are going to go back to our medium tip marker. And we may have to bring that down. And I see with this marker, we're going to have to do another layer. Well, not another layer, but you kind of have to render on top of it so it could be, so the value can be dark. Okay, so as you can see, I went over this twice. Okay, I did something wrong. Okay, all right, merge that. I forgot to add my layer for my eyes, for my eyebrows. So we're gonna have to go back over that again. Another thing with me doing it this way is that y'all can kind of see all of my mistakes. And y'all can see me kind of undo a lot of stuff. So we are now at the 2-hour mark. 2 hours and 8 minutes, 15 seconds. Usually sometimes I'll take a break and like work on it this the next day. But since I'm recording this for you all, I'm gonna go ahead and finish. And then I'm gonna answer all my notifications. Okay, so our eyebrows are done, so we can kind of merge that together. And then we can, I feel, okay, there it is. All right, so we're gonna do another layer for the hair. And okay. All right. And then we're gonna go over this again. Okay. And I think what I'm gonna have to do is actually, I'm gonna have to do anything. This is actually coming out really nice. Okay, so hat, hair, all of that is done. Oh, makeup. So what we're gonna do for makeup, we are going to use our soft brow, we're gonna use our soft airbrush. We're gonna go back to Okay. There. So we're using our soft airbrush to create eyeshadow. And so we are going here. Okay. So and I feel like we need to here. So makeup, well, the eyeshadow is done. And now we need blush. And we are going to use the soft airbrush again. And we're going to do this soft pink. Oh. If you are wondering what that is my call on Messenger. It's letting me know that people are hopping on, and that was one thing that I did not want you all to see. For some reason, I feel like I need to lower the opacity. So we're gonna lower the opacity. Let's see, 40. There. This looks great. Okay. So, makeup is done. And the last thing that we really have to do is the metal. And so I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to make all this gold and then just put the highlights and the lowlights in. And so we're going to start with the earrings first. And I'm going to start with this gold. That's not it. Okay. Okay. And so we're doing another layer. And this time we're going to make this darker. And we're going to use the hard eraser. The hard airbrush. And then we're going to erase in here. For some reason, I want to go back to black. And I'm going to take this ink. Okay, there it is. Uh-oh. Okay, I feel, Okay, there it is. And I'm gonna, nope. Okay. This one. Okay, there it is. Thank you. All right. All right. See if I can, yes. All right. So like one of the reasons why I like to work on layers is, of course, when you erase certain things, you don't mess up your actual illustration. And so we're using the same hard highlight. Okay. So we have our earrings, and the last thing that we have to do is our belt. And then after that, we will be done. We'll be done with this. So we are rendering our belt. And of course, we're going to use our eraser to clean all this up. Okay. Another thing I gotta fix. There. Now. Okay. All right, so now I'm cleaning up everything around the belt. Okay. And so we are going to add another layer, and we are using, we might use the hard and the soft brush, airbrush. So we're going to use the soft airbrush, and then just render. And I think we're going to have to Center it on here, this side and this side. Okay, so we are, okay, so I think I'm gonna do there. Okay, so now we are gonna do the highlights. And all right, and we're doing that one, and that one, and then there. So I feel like we need to add another highlight there. Okay, so we already have our belt completed, and then we are going to just kind of merge it in with our garment. So we got to clean this up. All right. So we now have our garment. So what we can do next. So one thing that I like to do is add a shadow to kind of make my illustration pop. So we are going to move this up. And so we are going to take, I think it was this flow airbrush. And we're going to take our flow airbrush and kind of create our silhouette. Whoa, I did the wrong thing. I was not supposed to do it on that. I was supposed to do it on this bottom layer. So good thing that I was able to undo a lot of stuff. So now and the reason why we're doing it this way is because all of this is going to be behind our croquis. And so what we can do next, and I think we can put this up. One thing that I also like to do is just kind of have like a little paintbrush theme. So I'm going to go into my different brushes. One of these was watercolor. I can't remember which one. Because we got that one for synthetic color builder. I also have, I thought I had, the designer, the synthetic taper, synthetic round bristle. That's ink brush. We can do that one for salty watercolor. Glaze, wet frayed bristles, blending watercolor. So that's another one for hair. We're gonna do the blending watercolor. We're gonna use that one. And then we're gonna come up with different colors for the background. And so we're making sure we're on the correct layer. We are. Oh, there it is. Look at that. Okay. I don't know what other color I'm going to use, but I'm just kind of blending, just putting colors together. And then of course that will be, I'm going to merge all of these together. And last but not least, I'm going to add my signature. So I'm going to go back to black, and I am going to use this inking pen. I'm going to turn my image to the side and then just sign my name. Okay. And so there's my signature. And here is my completed illustration that we did in Autodesk Sketchbook. And it took 2 hours and 30 minutes to complete. So I really hope you all enjoyed this. And so I'll be doing more illustrations like this. And I'll probably find some other platforms, like some other software to do this from. So I just want to say thank you all, and I hope to see you all again.